Hello, Immortal entrepreneurs, and welcome to the Higher Intelligence Integration Session 1. Um, I'm not going to be able to be there live tonight, so I'm recording this a little earlier in the day because I have some very important matters to attend to, which I'll make an announcement about later. And so I just wanted to cover the I Ching portion of tonight's kickoff, and just tune in for a second, take a deep breath. I am not sure if you can feel it, but this journey that we're about to embark on for 6 months, where we are healing our inner emotional landscape, where we are connecting to a higher perspective of the divine purpose of our service, of our business, of our healing work, of our life. And in a group of highly committed Jedi, we are putting the greatest practices that have ever existed to work for us every day as we alchemize and up-level our lives. And so I want to commend you for being here and take a moment to drop in. I hope you have some nice tea ready. This is just a portion of the night, but how the night's going to go, we're going to cover the I Ching Book of Changes. It's a very ancient Chinese text that was used to align our individual human lives with the larger patterns and cycles of nature. It was related to astrology and astronomy and to fortune telling and destiny readings, all of these things. And these early shamans, these early oracles, these early medicine men and women were really the earliest earth scientists in Chinese culture. And so it's no surprise to me that when Carl Jung was exposed to this book, it changed the course of his career and his life, and his work and his approach to psychology. And the founding scientists of binary code, which our computer use, which is these zeros and ones, these scientists came up with that after they got in touch with the I Ching. Now, I'll show you just a little bit about what we're talking about, because I know it sounds pretty crazy. Like, how is a computer program that is responsible for a tremendous amount of the things in modern times, how could that have come from something ancient? Well, you see here all of these trigrams, which have 3 lines in them, and then there's another set of them here. When you combine 2 trigrams together, you get a hexagram, or a 6-lined figure or glyph. And these lines are either solid or broken, either yin or yang. And that solid broken structure to convey information about the world around us is where we got the zeros and ones for binary code. Because with this, we can create a computer. We can create a lattice of intelligence to code information in the universe. And so this is where a lot of Chinese philosophy comes from. And anyway, you don't have to know too much about it. There's an app I'm going to use tonight on my phone that's by the same author, Brian Brown Walker. And those of you that are hearing this call, you're going to have your own hard copy version. And you're also going to get, although smaller than this, you're going to get Chinese coins. This is a large one, usually used as a necklace or some other way. But basically, you have the side with more action going on as the heads, and the side that's a little more subtle is the tails. Your coins will be really clear. There's 4 images on the head, and there's 2 on the tail. And when you throw the I Ching, you can look this up in many different places. We're going to go over it now, and then we'll get into what we threw for tonight. But let's just say one of the ways we're suggesting you use this material is that every week, in a little ritual time that you carve out for yourself, you tune into your greatest points of friction. Wherever in your life you're needing guidance or help. And when you tune into that part of yourself, you throw the coins, you journal the hexagram that comes out of it, and then you read the interpretation. Later in the call, David is going to cover the gene keys, which just take it to a whole other level. And actually, we're going to be doing, one of these every month of this 6-month academy. And that's kind of the universe's guidance to us as a group. But you could easily throw one of your own each month that gives you the more personal guidance that you might need. And if you're really into it and you have time, you can do it every week. But I'll tell you, the readings are profound, and they usually require some journaling, some meditating, and some opening of your consciousness to figure out how that guidance is going to actually turn into day-to-day change or transformation. Because I'll tell you, when you do this over and over again, it's like injecting a different stream of consciousness into everything you do. So anyway, let's get going. Let me show you one of the apps. Now, just as I'm sharing the screen here, I want to talk a little bit about Brian Brown Walker. He's one of my heroes, and very special man who translated a lot of Taoist texts, including the I Ching. And I think he did it in probably the most amazing, compelling way of anyone I've seen. So this is a suite of apps, and you can see here that he has an I Ching, a Hua Hu Ching, a Dao De Jing, and he's got another one called the Wu Wei Ching. And all of these are app versions of his books. They're available for very low cost, and they make a nice complement to having the hard copy of the book. So let me just click on the I Ching here. The Book of Changes. So the way you consult here, you can see you have the coins and they're all heads. You could tune in to a feeling that you want or a question you wanted to ask, and you can just tap the coins and it kind of randomly generates a hexagram for you, right? 6 lines. Now, just because some people may ask, what's the red lines? Well, when we go over how you generate these from the coins, it's basically based on numbers. And when a number is either all 3s or all 2s, either a 9 or a 6 in total, then what you get is a changing line, meaning that it's yin and it's about to turn into yang, or it's yang and it's about to turn into yin. In those cases, 2 hexagrams are generated. We're not going to worry about this now. We're just going to dive in to tonight's reading. And before we do, we're just going to look at how you would throw the I Ching for yourself. So you shake the 3 coins in your hand. All the heads count as 3 and the tails count as 2. The way I do this is I just write this out in my notebook for every reading. So I write heads 3, tails 2, and you're going to add each up. If it's an odd number, you draw an unbroken line. And if it's an even number, you draw a line that is broken in the center. And you always write the numerical value next to the line. So you can see here below, we start from the bottom. The first line was a 6, right? That's 3 2s, and that's a broken line. Second line, 7, odd number, solid line. Third line, 9, and so on and so forth. You're just adding the value of the coins. And this is how you would throw it. It's pretty easy. And once you get this, you look up the hexagram in that chart that I showed you before, and you'll be able to see from the top and the side which hexagram you want to use. Now, in a future call, on the second call we do next month, we'll actually throw one of these coins, but you can see the chart here, right? So you have, one line on the top row of trigrams and another line on the lower. And so this hexagram that we see up here, we have a 6, 7, 9. So a broken, solid, solid. So we're going to come down here and look for broken, solid, solid. And you're going to see that that is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th, 7th down from on the left side. So you get your first bottom part of your hexagram there. Then you go back up, and the top is solid, broken, solid, 7, 8, 9, solid, broken, solid. So we go back down, we look at the top row that runs across the top here, and we have fire, which you can see there is Li, solid, broken, solid. So we have fire over Sun, and we look at that, and we get hexagram 50. So you follow the Li fire over the wind soon, and you get hexagram 50. You see that? And then you'd be able to look it up in your book. And that's how it would work. All right, enough of this craziness, enough of this insanity. Let's just look at the hexagram we threw for tonight. I threw this for us as a group. David is going to give you the gene key. Man, it could not have been any more perfect. So what we got tonight was mountain over thunder, hexagram number 27. And this translates to corners of the mouth, or providing nourishment. Give proper nourishment to yourself and others. Man, this is just one of the things I love about the I Ching. I mean, it is so right on. And the readings are quite different. And so to have such a powerful reading tonight, really, really awesome. I think you're going to find it really applicable. So this is the image of an open mouth. And it comes to remind us that nourishment of our bodies and spirits is important and merits our conscientious attention. You know, so one of the things I love about this is part of what happens in the Immortal Entrepreneur is that, you know, David is about to take us deep into a journey of nourishing our body and our spirit with Qigong, with meditation, with sound healing. And then the Adaptogenic Entrepreneur is going to take us into tonic herbs, daily tonics, and mindfulness meditation. All the ways that we can lift our own vibration throughout the day as we engage in our service to the world. Let's go deeper. The I Ching teaches us that if we wish to gauge someone's character, we should notice what he nourishes in himself and in others. Those who cultivate inferior behaviors and relationships are inferior people. Those who cultivate superior qualities in themselves and others are superior people. This is a test that we should apply to ourselves as well as to others. Now, you're going to take your own meaning from that. But for me, you know, what I hear about this is regardless of how much money somebody makes, or regardless of how famous whatever spiritual teacher is, what kind of person are they on the quiet moments that they're not on stage? What kind of person are they in between teaching the seminars or making the millions of dollars? Are they an asshole in between? Do they talk down to people? Do they lack integrity yet they're successful? Or are there some people we know that are, you know, humble and simple and yet rich in spirit? And then in our own lives, you know, where has our integrity slipped, and what's the energy vibration we're sending out regardless of our level of success? And so this is that spiritual, emotional nourishment. How well are we nourishing ourselves spiritually, and how well are we nourishing others who we're in service to? Great thing to look at. So what you put into your body is obviously important because it determines your fundamental physical well-being. It is wise to moderate and be thoughtful about the food you eat. What you put into your mind is even more significant, and regulating it is a more subtle art. This hexagram gives us 3-part advice on the subject. So this one is telling us to look at what we eat. It's springtime. It's a great time to take advantage of the high phytochemical berries and leafy greens to cleanse and nourish our bodies, to clean out our digestive tract. It's always a good time to take advantage of tonic herbs and adaptogens and nourishing teas. And then, you know, what is the diet of our mind, and how often do we let ourselves sink into negative thinking and anxiety and worry? So that's another factor. Let's look at the 3. The first counsel, these are all actionable. I encourage you to take notes. We should not feed our minds on desire. When we forego our equanimity, our even keel, and we begin to desire something or someone, a host of other inferior influences come into play. We become ambitious about obtaining the object of our desire. We become fearful that we will not obtain it. If we do achieve it, our ego is gratified and strengthened, and it soon issues another demand for us to meet. A self-reinforcing cycle of negativity is thus created. Therefore, it is wise to hold yourself free from desire. I know this one can sound like very contrary to some of our ambitious lives. And I know that there is this Eastern concept of, not doing or non-action, and it can be a little confusing. I'll just share a little personal aside is that as I get business coaching and, learn to become a better entrepreneur myself, I find that the moments of silence, of deep mountain medicine time where I'm up on a hill for a sunrise or a sunset, when I stop thinking about my ambitions for my business and my goals financially, and that's when it seems that not only do I have the desire to keep going because I'm nourishing myself in that moment, but also creative answers seem to come out of nowhere that guide my offering and my business from a deeper place of service and of joy and of synchronicity. And I didn't get that on the whiteboard with my coach. I got it in the stillness of the morning sunrise with the dog sitting next to me and the smell of pine trees and the mind fasting from overthinking. And so having a mindfulness practice is really key. And I think that's partially what this is talking about. All right, let's look at the second counsel. I encourage you, make some notes for yourself. Where can you fast from negative thinking or negative influences? Where can you carve out some time in your life to take a step back from ambition? Okay, second counsel is that we begin to continue in a regular practice of meditation. Sitting quietly with our eyes closed for even as little as 10 or 15 minutes a day begins to clear the waste out of our hearts and minds, making room for the nourishment of peace and wisdom to enter in. To sit in meditation is tune your ear to the voice of the sage, the higher power, God, the Tao, whatever you call it. And it is the most powerful way of gaining his assistance or her assistance. So again, it's hard to justify sitting and doing nothing, and yet we know from a neuroscience perspective that there is hot logic and cold logic. Hot logic solves problems by thinking, making pros and cons lists, and computing data. And the other way, the soft logic, the cold logic, is where we move on to a moment of bliss or ecstasy or meditation, and the answer comes in clearly. I hope that all of you have a meditation practice, and I also hope that you really are finding the value in that meditation. You understand from the neuroscience perspective what a gift it is to your ambition and your life to take those moments of respite and to silence the mind. Like I've said many times before, Tony Robbins and Tim Ferriss have noted that in these meetings with all the extraordinary people in our world, the most common habit is the habit of meditation. Okay, the final counsel is that we observe tranquility in speech, thoughts, and actions. By cultivating calm and equanimity in all that you say, think, and do, you nourish your superior self, your higher self, your wisdom mind, and you nourish the wisdom mind of those around you. One who follows these three counsels now will meet with good fortune. So there we have it. We have the three advices of the I Ching for tonight for number 27. So as we get ready to launch into the Immortal Forum this upcoming Sunday, and as you guys dive in, I ask that you consider how you're nourishing yourself. I ask that you take a look at your diet and try to bring more living, healthy, vital foods of this season, which are the fruits and the leafy greens and all of those wonderful high phytochemical foods that are in season and usually inexpensive and abundant right now. 2 is that you begin your meditation practice in as little as 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes 3 times a day. Stop what you're doing, return to your breath or a mantra, and let the waste product of the overactive mind settle down. And lastly, the final advice of this nourishment, the corners of the mouth, number 27 in the I Ching, is to also be wise and be calm and tranquil with your words. You know, you might have heard of the spiritual filter to put all of your communications through, at least for periods throughout the week, which is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? This could have easily originated in the I Ching thousands of years ago, to not add to the pollution of the world with drama and gossip. Even if you're excited and you're happy, just be aware of the impact of your words as you write your copy for your businesses, as you journal, and as you tune in with yourselves. Anyway, I am so looking forward to catching the replay where David is going to break down the gene keys and introduction to what they are, as well as the specific gene key tonight, which will have its own, shadow gift and special power, the city. So thank you, and have a great weekend. And I'm so looking forward to being there Sunday night when we launch into the Immortal form. Please don't hesitate to private message me on Facebook if you got any questions about this. I'll also post it in the Facebook group. And thank you for being here with us. Blessings.